Hey, welcome back to Album April. It's April 29th, and today I listened to Folklore by Taylor Swift. After the release of her album 1989, Taylor Swift was at her absolute peak. There were so many hit singles and one album of the year, and she was basically on top of the world. But then some drama happened and it became immediately clear that Taylor Swift was not invincible. It would be a lie to say that she had a huge drop in popularity and success in the upcoming years, but it definitely felt more like she was sort of feeling around and trying to find a new niche to carve for herself. She released 2 albums in this period of uncertainty, Reputation and Lover, and I have very mixed feelings about the singles from both of them. But just like with every other human being on the planet, things changed in 2020. She released the album Folklore during that summer, and it absolutely blew up. Both Folklore and Evermore, its sort of sister album, which was released in December of 2020, had several hit singles, were well received, and Folklore would even win Album of the Year, making her a 3-time winner of that Grammy. I listened to it, and my first impression of it was that I think I got the impression from other people that this was like a fully fictionalized concept album from Taylor Swift, but that's not really the case at all. From the beginning, it really just seemed like this was Taylor Swift, no longer young. Like, she was 30 at the time. That's not old. That's not beyond your prime. That's not like when you're done with your development, but it just seems like that's a good time to look back on your youth. And this was her looking back on her youth and analyzing both her behavior and the behavior of people around her. And that's not just me being a jerk. Like, in this album, she often talks about when I was young, back when I was young, instead of I am young. And that seemed like a very solid way of looking at this album until it got to the song Betty, which really feels like the odd one out on Folklore. Looking it up later, Betty, Cardigan, and August are all part of this story of a love triangle between these 3 fictional characters, but that was not at all apparent. Taylor Swift narrates all 3 of those songs, and they're all at different places in the album. Both Cardigan and August just felt like regular Taylor Swift songs, but then you got Betty almost at the very end of the album, and by the end of it, I was able to realize, oh wait, no, this isn't Taylor Swift, this is her narrating the experience of some guy. And clearly it was referring to the same situation as Cardigan, but that wasn't apparent from the beginning, and I had no idea that August was connected to that at all. I really feel like Taylor Swift should have gotten like 2 guest vocalists to perform Betty and August, like one man and one woman, and would have had Cardigan, August, and Betty all like in a row on this album, because the way she actually went about it, where she narrates all 3 songs and they're all spread out over this album, is I think the worst way she could have gone about it if she wanted people to understand that this was a self-contained story. But anyway, putting those 3 songs aside, I do think that this is really just an album about looking back on one's youth and analyzing one's own behavior. And there are some bittersweet songs about it, like the one. There are some angry songs about it, like Illicit Affairs. But overall, this was executed wonderfully. Folklore is the best album I've listened to all month by a wide margin. This is Taylor Swift firing on all cylinders. Her and her team knocked it out of the park with this one. There are so many great songs on Folklore, but it's not close. My favorite song from this album is Exile. I kind of lump Exile in my head together with Coney Island from Evermore, and those 2 songs together are like in top 3 Taylor Swift songs, maybe top 2. It is probably one of the simplest and purest ways to express the emotions of a messy breakup. Taylor Swift and the frontman of Bon Iver, Justin Vernon, work off each other very well, and I love the way it sounds. But there are so many other great songs on Folklore. 7, I thought, was a really well-made song. Despite my problems with the way that they were presented, Betty, Cardigan, and August are all great. Cardigan especially being one of Taylor Swift's very best from a lyrical standpoint. Illicit Affairs conveys this really good sense of anger and guilt. This Is Me Trying was very powerful emotionally. There are so many great songs on Folklore, and out of all the songs, I didn't dislike any of them. Do I wish that Taylor Swift had not gone soft for at least one song? Yes. Does the first half of the album overshadow the second half of the album by a large margin? Yes, but still, Folklore is masterfully done in so many ways. It goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, Folklore does hold up as an album. When I saw that Folklore was among the last 2 albums to be reviewed for Album April, I was pretty sure it was going to be the one I reviewed last, just based on, I don't know, gut feelings, but I honestly wish it was the last one, because this would have been a great way to close out the month. Folklore is, without any doubt in my mind, a great album. And it completely makes sense that with this album, Taylor Swift repaired her crumbled castle and rebuilt it to something even stronger. I would highly recommend this album to anybody who's interested. I'll see you tomorrow for the finale of Album April 2023.